Hey, Slick Talkers, thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. And I know that if you love this show, you'll also love my morning show called Good Morning Hospitality with my co-hosts Michael Golden and Brandy Canali, as we spend 30 minutes every Monday morning to dive into the industry's top latest news and trending topics. So go check it out on wherever you find your podcasts at Good Morning Hospitality. And you can live stream with us on Monday mornings on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Now, I hope you enjoy this episode.
You've got to get people back to not just thinking about listing a property and finding a way to rent it. You've got to start getting people to think like business people and run businesses and stop trying to grow, like get to 100 listings and look for VC financing. Start slow, build with structure, build with profitability in mind. And have a long game. Took me 20 years to build AES.
Yeah, exactly.
It took me 20 years. It took me 20 years to build it to where it is today. And I still don't think, and I'm still always looking to improve. But, you can't build that overnight.
Welcome to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast where we discuss all things hospitality, hotels, and business. You can find us online at slicktalkthepodcast.com and on every podcast listening platform.
Hey everybody, before you continue on today's podcast, I want you to hear this message real quick. I'm always talking about the guest experience, but another topic that I love talking about is the team experience. Part of the team experience is safety and ongoing training. There's nothing worse than not knowing how to do your job or not being told when things have been updated when it comes to policies, procedures, and of course, with everything going on with COVID-19, proper protocol when it comes to cleaning your room or property. So if you're in a hotel or a vacation rental, I highly recommend that you get into the cleaningsertification.com. This is an online course. It's only $20, but if you use my promo code SlickTalk20, it gives you 20% off, brings it down to $16, super affordable, and it keeps your team informed on updated protocols when it comes to cleaning and sanitizing for COVID-19. While we are, having travel open up and we're seeing an increase in bookings and a lot of last minute stuff, bookings within a day or two of arrival. This is something that you really should be focusing on with your team. So go ahead and hop on to cleaningsertification.com, use the promo code SlickTalk20, and you'll get your cleaning certification to show your future guests that you are cleaning certified, that you and your team are safe and using the proper procedures and protective equipment. Thank you guys for tuning in, and now back to today's episode. Welcome back to Slick Talk, the hospitality podcast. I'm your host, Will Slickers, and if you've been following the show, you would have heard of this guest that we had back in January for the Mastermind series. It was a very fun series. I had Chris Mon, who is the CEO and founder of iPrac, and also AES Events, which is based out in Cannes, France, and I believe London, if I'm not mistaken. Chris?
Yeah, our head office is in London, but most of us are based in Cannes.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, my friend. So, it's been a while. We've had some crazy stuff happen from the last time you were on the show.
Oh, yeah. It's been a wave, huh? But I believe that these challenges are sent to test us. So, you only come out stronger the other side. So I think it's important that you welcome it and adapt towards it. And I think you'll see a lot of people building stronger businesses after this.
I couldn't agree more. Go ahead.
It'll have its victims, absolutely, like any global situation such as the COVID-19 will. But anything will have its victims. But I think it'll make a lot of the professional operators more sustainable, builds more sustainable businesses, which is good. It's sometimes you need a bit of a shock to the system for you to realize how bad your business was. Like what happened to me in 2008, I had to restructure my whole business just to survive the 2008 crash. I thought in 2008, I thought I was unstoppable. Really?
Yeah.
Until that happens. until that happens, and then you realize just how your business isn't structured for such an event. So I think a lot of people during this COVID have realized that they have to restructure their businesses to be more sustainable. And I think that's a good thing.
I agree. And we're also talking a lot about the rising tide of, the standard in the industry, how, this really goes into the IPRAC mission and, your number one saying, trust and confidence, right? We can't build trust and confidence with all those bad, fraudulent, just low standard operators out there. Now that most of them get weeded out, this kind of actually helps the initiative, not only just IPRAC, but the industry rising as a whole, to showcase itself better in a better spotlight.
Yeah, as long as we don't let them back in.
Exactly.
Yeah. because it's all good. I mean, we did need, the industry needed a shake-up because it was getting, I've always said, it's like the Wild West. And, there's such a large scale of, quality and service and what some people offer to what other people are prepared to offer, what other people think hospitality, what other people think hospitality. So to try to get to a level of educating the industry of what is hospitality, what is service accommodation, what is short-term rentals, is not just a matter of putting as Airbnb was founded on, an air mattress on a floor. I don't believe that is hospitality, but that's my opinion. But I believe that we've got to move forward with higher standards if we're going to create sustainability within the short-term rental sector. Like to compete with hotels, to get that same level of respect that hotels have within the short-term rental industry. That's going to take a lot of work in terms of trust and confidence, but also regulation of health and safety, and stopping, making a barrier to entry. There's no barrier to entry. That's the problem. There's nobody saying, no, you can't come in and operate in this sector. It's like, you want to come in, you come in, and then you get found out. But you need a bigger barrier to entry, and that comes through regulation, trust and confidence, and logos and certifications like IPRAC, and alongside some others. But I believe IPRAC's driving it forward in terms of the trust and confidence. We really are moving at a fast rate in terms of memberships coming on board.
Yeah. I was going to say, so for the audience members that haven't maybe listened to our first episode together, or maybe are just now getting on to the show, kind of give us a little reminder of what IPRAC is, what you guys do, maybe a little backstory. We don't want to go too much into because we can always catch people up later, but really just a quick overview of really what IPRAC stands for as a whole.
Sure. Okay, well, IPRAC stands for International Property Rental Approval Certification, and that's what we are. We're a certification. We go out and approve and certify legitimate operators. So whether you're a property manager or an individual owner, you apply to become IPRAC approved. You apply, you go through the robust application process. You provide us with the supporting documents that we require. We do the magic, we approve you, then all of a sudden you become a part of the IPRAC community and you get your IPRAC logo, your certificate, and you can start showcasing trust and confidence. So that's what we do as a platform. And we're now in 28 countries. And I think by the end of 2020, we'll have reached 45,000 members.
Wow. And so from the guest perspective, what benefits do they have from booking with IPRAC members? Because I know we talked about this in the first episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the biggest points is when we were building the IPRAC platform, it wasn't just about having a logo. You probably look around the industry today, you see logo here, trust, cleaning, certification, but there's no traceability in them logos. There's no way of tracking who that logo is being issued to. So anybody can paste and copy it and put it onto a fraudulent website. So what the IPRAC logo, every IPRAC logo, the technology that we have creates a individual, unique IPRAC logo for every member. And that ID number is linked back to their iPrac profile, and on that profile, a guest, when they've booked through an iPrac member, they can register their booking, and they get all of their their payments to that member guaranteed 100%. So they know that when they're booking with an iPrac member, they know that their property exists. They know they're booking through a legitimate operator. They know their payments are guaranteed. And one of the biggest things that we say at iPrac is when you pay, your experience should start. Not when you arrive, when you pay. And when you pay today, a non-iPrac member, there's a lot of anxiety in the air. You know, you're still, maybe when we get there, it's not the property we thought it would be. Maybe it doesn't exist. And there's a lot of anxiety. So iPrac diminishes all of that. And it gets you into a state of mind where you know you've booked through a legitimate operator. iPrac's overseeing it as a third-party verification so that you can book with confidence and enjoy the experience of booking it. So the build-up to your holiday, the build-up to your stay. And I think experience is just as the build-up experience is just as important as the experience of the actual holiday, because it's part of it.
Yeah, so it's the anticipation.
Yeah. But I mean, if you've got anxiety or nerves around whether your property's going to exist, or whether you've been scammed, or whether you get there and the property's not what you thought it would be, that's anticipation. You're not comfortable. You're not relaxed.
Yeah.
You know, you're not shouting it from the rooftops with your friends and family. You know, we've booked a villa in Spain. Here we go. You know, you're like, I'll wait till we get the keys.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, that's wrong. As an industry, that's wrong. We've got to change that consumer mentality so that when they know they're booking, they, like if somebody books a Marriott in New York and they know they get there, the Marriott's there.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got to create that same confidence within the short-term rental industry. And the only way that we can do that is by having a global membership of iPrac members. I mean, 45,000 members is a fantastic number.
Yeah.
And I take my hat off to the team in the UK and to get to that level, but it's such a small number compared to the market size.
Yeah, to the huge industry.
To the huge industry. You know, I mean, you look at 5 million listings on Airbnb. You know, you've got all these other listings on Booking.com. So, you know, we haven't even touched the surface. But I believe that the future is trust and confidence, and we need to get operators to believe that that's also the way forward, so we can get everybody signed up to be an iPrac member, and then, you know, provide just more confidence and trust within the sector.
Yeah, I was going to say, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but really the iPrac mission does fall into like the Destinationaire concept as well that we've been talking about prior to the show and on socials and stuff, is the anticipation of experience, right? And so that anticipation needs to be positive. And just like that, you say when you're anxious and not sure that the property's there, that's not part of the industry. Like, we don't want that feeling on anybody. We don't want that feeling on ourselves. We don't want that feeling on any of our family that goes and travels. Like, we want confidence and excitement, anticipated buildup of the experience. So
absolutely,
I think
and this is one of the points that we make to a lot of property managers, because a lot of property managers that we speak to, they will say, no, but we inform our potential guests that they've got nothing to worry about and it's okay. But you know, we tell them, unfortunately, that's not enough. You know, they don't know who you are. So it doesn't matter how many reviews you direct them to, how many positive reviews you direct them to from previous guests, or how much you try to convince them that you're a legitimate operator. In the back of their mind, they're still not comfortable because they don't know who you are. And this is one of the problems where iPrac sits above that and kind of monitor what's going on. So when you're booking with an iPrac member, you know you're not just directly with that person. You know you've got the support of iPrac sitting there. So if that, just making sure that everything's okay. So that third-party verification is crucial to like you say, the Destinationaire, and to make sure people feel the experience from start to finish.
Exactly.
And start is when you pay and you're looking forward to that that holiday. It's such an important part, the build up.
Yeah.
You know, to enjoy that.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And so one of the questions I wanted to ask you, because when we were first talking back in, actually before January, we've been talking since October to get the Mastermind series up and running and launched. But when we first met, you travel quite often. So you were kind of all over the place, from France to London to Spain to, you know, all these places. And we actually, you know, almost could have met up during the time of the Shorties Awards, and I got to meet your colleague Emma, which was an awesome experience. And so that was pre-COVID-19, and then Shorties Award and the Short Stay Show happened, lockdown, pretty much everybody got, you know, stuck. So I want to know, what was your daily routine? Obviously you're traveling a lot and being busy with, you know, pre-COVID stuff, and now what's your daily routine with quarantine and pretty much the whole world just being shut down?
Oof. Well, I didn't really, you know, to be honest, I didn't really change my routine that much. I mean, I've got quite a strict routine in terms of what I do on a daily basis. From the only thing that changed really was going to the gym and taking the kids to school.
Yeah.
So apart from that, we had to adapt to homeschooling, which was quite tough. But the gym that I've got a gym at home, so I didn't need to go to the gym outside where I normally go after I've dropped the kids off at school. Mm-hmm. So that kind of changed, but we did homeschooling. But, you know, my route, I'll be totally honest with you, I actually enjoyed the lockdown, you know, because for the last 20 years, I've worked here in Cannes, not only in IPRAC, as you know, I'm the founder of AES here in Cannes, and we manage 250 properties here. And January to June is our busiest time. I mean, we probably work a full 12 months of work in that 4 months period, February to June. And I've done that for 20 years, building AES. You know, every time there's the MIP in March, MIP TV in April, Film Festival in May, Cannes Lions in June. So to have that opportunity when all of them 4 congresses were cancelled and they were put back to 21, you know, after the original, you know, organizing all of the contracts and the reimbursements and the refunds and the, you know, after it was kind of, I was okay with it. But I'm looking away because I've structured my, you know, I'm quite comfortable. Mm-hmm. I'm comfortable in my lifestyle where I could, you know, I'm not really in a working, I don't need to work as much. I mean, I work because I'm passionate about what I do. Yeah. So I was out there to give a lot of support and advice to people who were probably struggling a lot more than I was. So that was kind of what I committed myself to during the lockdown, just supporting other businesses where I could mentally, because I know it's very tough to lose money and not know where you are and where things are going. So I supported a lot of businesses in that way. In the industry, you know, as we know, we did the IPRAC initiative to try and give back to the industry. So I just concentrated really then 4 months on giving back. And that was what I wanted to do. So that was my routine, just giving back and spending some quality time with my kids and my wife and reading a lot. I read some books that I'd bought like 5 years ago and never got a chance to read. So I've caught up on that and, you know, kind of, I used to slag Netflix off. Now I love it. And, you know, so yeah, so it kind of, it didn't bother me, but I could see that, but I didn't go around telling people that because I could see there was a lot of people struggling. So for me, it was just a matter of supporting who I could and giving back to the industry.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, you brought up a good point, and I've seen since the pandemic has happened that you guys have still been very active. Like you said, the initiative to the industry, giving IPRAC for free until I believe that August is when you guys are going to?
Well, we originally said it would be for the month of May, but what we did realize that was still kind of, people were still in a very emotional state in May. So it was very difficult for people to make that decision to kind of, do we join, do we not? And so we decided that we would extend it to August just to give people a little bit more time to, you know, to get round to doing it, because we didn't want to force everybody to do it within a month. Originally, that's what our plan was, but then we realised that wasn't very fair, so we decided to extend it, and we've had a better response since we extended it, because people have, we've actually had a better response because people just feel more relaxed that they've got more time to get on board with the initiative. But I mean, since the 1st of May, we've had just under 2,700 sign-ups.
Wow, that's pretty nice.
So that's, yeah. So I mean, it's just under 2 million. It's under £2 million of investment that I've given back to the industry, which is what I intended to do. So and now I'm seeing a lot of these operators who've been approved starting to showcase their iPrat logo. And we've had a lot of great response back saying that, their conversion rates now increase from like 20% up to 40-50%, and that'll only get better. So it's great to see that our initiatives made an impact.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I was going to say, back in May, we also saw an article on shorttermrentals.com about your partnership with SafeStay in Australia. And you guys partnered in a $6 million investment into the Australia short-term rental market sector. Yeah. So why was this so important for an investment in that market for you guys?
Well, I'll tell you what it was, because we started seeing a very big influx in inquiries from Australia coming in. I mean, we had just under 1,000 members in Australia before the end of 2019. But January, February we started seeing a big increase in Australia's, in the short-term rental sector, becoming interested in IPRAC approval. So we thought it was a very big market. And when we kind of met with SafeStay, they had an initiative that they were running, which we were very excited about, because it kind of fits with our ethos of, trust and confidence, safety. So, we decided that, we would release some investment to Australia and try and impact that. And it's been fantastic as well. And I mean, one of the other things that kind of supported that was that Made Comfy. Kieran, do you know Made Comfy?
I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think they won the Shorties Award for the best global property manager, I believe.
Okay.
Back in March at the Shorties, and they came to us as well with a kind of they wanted to increase their global, showcasing of trust and confidence. So they became IPRAC approved at the end of May, and that also had a massive impact in all. And we've just, I think we must have had about 1,200 applicants from Australia in the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
Which is fantastic, which is, like I say, it's amazing that we're doing this kind of, but I think you've got to be prepared to invest in your brand and get your brand out there and support it with other partners. I think, I've always said to you, the right partnerships are the key to building big businesses and big brands. And we don't just partner with anybody. And so SafeStay were a massive, they were a good fit for us. So it was a good investment for us, we believed. And I think we'll receive the rewards for that over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. I was going to say, is the short-term rental market pretty new concept in Australia? I've not new, but more, I haven't heard much of certain articles or any companies that really, other than Made Comfy.
No, I think you're right. It's not a country that's kind of, leading that industry.
Yeah.
So they're
probably more hotel and restaurant based.
Yeah, I think so. But I think now when they're seeing, the property market, I mean, you see that Made Comfy, for example, I mean, they're listing at an extraordinary rate. Extraordinary. It's crazy how many properties they're going to list, and they're obviously leading the way in what people are doing. So once you start getting big brands doing it, then smaller other companies are coming in. So Australia is going to be a huge market, and it's such a huge country. So there's a lot of people who holiday within their own country, the staycation word. So I think Australia is going to be a massive market for the short term. And, the Australians like to do things right.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's
they
very true.
They like to do things right. So when we had the opportunity to partner with Safe Stay, that was fantastic. And also, we've made Comfy, and there's a lot of other agents and owners who've come on board. So Australia is a big market for us right now. And I think we'll ride that train as much as we can, because I think Australia love iPrac.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, the one, like you said, the one thing you've been preaching to me since we've met is good partnerships build big businesses. Again, and for the listeners, iPrac and Slick Talk are partners. So that's pretty cool. Go Absolutely. Check out all the stuff. But I also realized, like you said, like Australia loves to do it right. And I partnered up with a company called Tipsy, and they're a learning platform for the hospitality sector, like restaurants, bars, hotels. And they, like you said, they like to do it right. They're very thorough. That's like the one partnership that I work with. And they're very like, all right, this is this for Instagram. This is for Facebook. This is what we want to do for this. And like very detail oriented. And it's very much appreciated because it's, like you said, very well-rounded.
Yeah.
It helps keep me on board too. It keeps me in check. So
absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. Well, with, all these initiatives in place, what is the goal and outcome desired? How do you see this playing into the future of hospitality and the short-term rental segments, and the rise of, that barrier to entry and standard?
Well, I think it's going to change. Absolutely. I mean, look, travel's certainly going to change, so I think, the staycation market is something that a lot of people are going to have to get on board with, because I think that's where the incomes are going to come from. I mean, look, let's be straight. The short-term rental, it's all about just putting people in your properties. Doesn't matter where they come from. Doesn't really matter whether they're coming from a different country or not. But travel for the next 2 to 3 years is not going to be, it's going to be very restricted internationally. So there's not going to be many people, say with business travel. And also the fact that now a lot of companies have adapted to be able to work offline, work from home, work through Zoom, then a lot of international travel for business will be reduced as well, I believe. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of budget costs. It's like, we're not going to send Dave and Tim over to London to sign that contract. We'll do it through Zoom Pro. There's 12 grand saved. So I think a lot of businesses will start to look at saving money, and that'll affect travel. But I also believe that price is going to be key, because I think over the next 2 years, there's going to be far too much product and not enough guests. So that's going to make for a price war. And I don't think a lot of people are ready for that. So I think you've got to be prepared. You've got to start preparing yourself now for a price war. And that's depending whether you're a property manager or a property owner. Yeah. You have to decide on what strategy you're going to use. But there's certain strategies in place.
I was going to say, I came from a hotel market prior to when I quit and went to full-time podcasting, where it's so much inventory that we're always in a price war. Like it's a destination town for sure, but there was so many rooms and, obviously not enough guests to fill them. There was always a price war. It's not fun, but it's also exciting when you come out on top every week. You're like, all right, yep.
Well, this is all about, it's about your marketing, isn't it? It's about how you market your property. It's, some people are not always looking for the best price.
Yeah.
Some people aren't interested in searching the market for 2 or 3 days trying to find the best price. So it's all about how you do your marketing, but it's certainly you have to be ready to be price adaptable, because exactly. I think that where you are at the minute is, I've always said, driving traffic is one thing, converting it is another. And you've got to be able to know what your conversion tools are. So you've got to have your conversion tools. And we always said iPrac's not just a certification, we're also a conversion tool because of the direct booking trust and confidence bridge. So we can actually help property owners and managers convert rentals because they have that trust factor. So you've got to get your conversion tools. You've got to get that bag out and open it up and fill it up as much as you can, and have your tool bag full of conversion tools, because that's what's going to be, you know, it's not about sales. It's about being able to convert. And I think that's going to be key to the future, definitely. Otherwise, you'll be sat there thinking, I've got these 10 beautiful properties and I can't rent them. Why is that? And he is, and she's not. And I don't understand why I'm not renting my properties. And then it's too late.
Yeah.
All of a sudden all of a sudden your business is struggling, and then you might end up having to close. So you've got to look at that strategy now and try to see what the future holds. And the future holds price adaptability. You've got to be prepared to get your price adapted to suit the market.
Well, and another thing we've been talking about on the show, and I think within industry, networks, is profitability, right? So revenue is always great, but getting revenue doesn't mean you're profitable. And so I think conversion is a huge key, because we talk about this, making sure your operating costs are very, at a good standard, like where you're selling your property for, let's say $300 a night, but if you're costing $500 to flip it and to get it back to the next guest, you're not profitable. You're paying for somebody to stay on your property, or it may not be that significant of a number, right? But let's say, $1,600 a night at a big luxury villa, but you are breaking even. Well, there's something going internally. And so revenue is great, but I think the conversion that you're talking about is a super important tool, because not only will conversion help with revenue, but if you have a right profitability margin, then that conversion rate is actually saving you, double the amount.
Yeah. And I mean, there's, profitability is the word for any business, not just in hospitality. I mean, any business has got to make a profit for a long period of time, otherwise they will close. Because the last thing you want to do is in this industry, you've got a lot of, like robbing Peter to pay Paul, which is that old saying of, using somebody else's deposit to pay an owner for somebody else. And then you get into a mess. And I think what you've got to be careful of, and when I spoke to a group of property managers here in Monaco, it was in December last year, and I spoke to them about it. I said, how many of you know what a P&L is? And a lot of them looked at me like I'd come from Mars. Like, well, surely you know what a P&L is. You're running a business, a profit and loss sheet is like the first thing that you've got to know how to do, but also how to read and how to study it, so you can see where your trends are within the year, and how much you're paying out in cleaning, and how much you're paying out in charges and internet and travel and phone and all these different outgoings that you can look at and go, I need to find a way to bring that cost down, and I need to find a way to bring that cost up, and I need to reduce my marketing strategy but get more out of it. And that's, I believe, a P&L is like a map of your future. You can look at it and study it. I mean, some people call me boring for it, but I love looking at a P&L. I can look at a business on a P&L and see just where they're going wrong, just without even visiting the business, just from the P&L. So I think you've got to get people back to not just thinking about listing a property and finding a way to rent it. You've got to start getting people to think like business people and run businesses, and stop trying to grow, like get to 100 listings and look for VC financing. Start slow, build with structure, build with profitability in mind, and have a long game. Took me 20 years to build AES.
Yeah, exactly.
It took me 20 years. It took me 20 years to build it to where it is today. And I still don't fit, and I'm still always looking to improve. But, you can't build that overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
So I believe that people in this industry have got to take a step back and maybe just look at how they're running their businesses, and to see whether they're running it profitable. And are they getting a salary out of it? I mean, I remember when I built AES, I think the first 18 months I didn't take a salary, but after that it was like you have to get to a point where you're earning a salary, otherwise your business isn't working enough. Your business isn't working if you can't pay yourself a salary. Correct. At the start it's okay, but you've got to get to a point where you're paying yourself a salary. Might not be big, but you've got to get to that point. So I think a lot of people are not running their businesses as they should, and I think that's a big advice. A big advice I would give to people is, and you know what? There's no shame in not knowing. It's a matter of admitting that you don't and finding out how to do it.
Exactly.
That's the key. It's not
self-awareness.
Of course it is. Listen. There's no shame. There's no shame in not knowing something, but there's a point where you've got to look at and go, right, I need to educate myself on this, otherwise my business is going to go down the Swanee. And I think that's why, the advice I would give to people is start looking at it from a business point of view and building your business for the future. Yeah. Because there's not going to be a lot of room, and I think they've got to keep an eye on the different certifications and regulations, because there is going to be barriers to entries being built in the next 2 to 3 years, and I think you've got to be ready for that also, and get your property owners informed as well.
I think it's our responsibility as managers, providers, whatever, to really stay up to date with every single thing going on, because that way we can educate. I think there's not a lack of education in the space, but I think it's really when you have owners that have these properties and you're taking them on for them, they're going to try to do things that maybe aren't allowed to be done, or there's other hoops and things that you have to educate them on, and you have to be aware of what's going on before you get shut down or have to postpone because of this license and permit.
Exactly.
And all this other stuff. So there's a lot to go into it.
And that you can do through having somebody who's specifically within your organization who can have that community of owners who can advise them on the new regulations that are coming to light, what's happening within the industry, what they can expect for the future, what they should be doing, how they can save money. And once you start building that community, them owners don't want to go anywhere. And when they don't want to go anywhere, that means they feel comfortable with your business, which means they're assets to you and that you can earn money from them. So you want to be making sure that you're managing your own. Never leave your owners out in the cold.
Yeah.
They're just as important. They're just as important as potential guests. There's a balance.
Yeah, we talk about all the stakeholders involved in the experience of hospitality and short-term rentals. And I think, guest experience for sure. The manager stakeholder, so whoever is involved in organizing that experience, and then there's the owner experience, because you have to maintain, it's a 3-party system, and
absolutely, when
your owners are happy and your guests are happy, overall you'll have a sustainable business, and making sure profitability and owners staying in, like you said, if you're always flipping owners and putting them on your platform and having to take them off because they don't want to be in it anymore or whatever, that's a costly expense. And the longer you can keep them on your system and in your program and with your company, the more better off you're going to be, because like you said, they trust you, you're making money, they're making money, and the overall guest experience will be better because you're not having to flip-flop all the
you get to a point where they believe the grass isn't always greener, so you've got to build that. Like if you get a newsletter every month from your property management company just telling you what's going on, what they can expect, what new regulations are coming in, what they might have to invest in the future, it's like, I'm not going to get that anywhere else. So there's that communication of like, I'm going to call my property manager. Who is it? Who do I call? We've got that one girl in our office who's responsible to manage our property owners, and they love her. She, once a year she has a cocktail where they all go, and we, and I have to go. And, but it's great. It's a community of owners, and she's the one who's keeping some of our, listen, we've got a property that we manage that everybody wants on the Croisette in Cannes, okay? And this goes for more than 150,000 for the film festival. Okay? So you can imagine a company paying over 150,000 euros to rent it for 10 days. Okay? Now, everybody wants that property. Okay? We've had it for 11 years. So that says a lot about what we're building.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so that that owner receives email after email after email. I'll offer you more. I'll offer you 160,000. I'll offer you this. I'll offer you that. Give it to me. I'll give you a 5-year contract. That owner every time, no, I'm happy where I am. But that's because we give him a fantastic income. You know, he gets about 460 grand a year out of us throughout the whole year. So that but at the same time, he doesn't want 500,000. He's quite happy with 460 because he knows that AES is doing the job for him. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I believe property managers should be looking to make sure that they have that on board, because it makes your stock. Having stock in this industry is everything. You know, like if you don't, if somebody emails you and says, I need a 3-bedroom apartment and you don't have it, then that's kind of critical. So you've got to have the right balance of owners, keep them on board, keep them happy, keep them as a community, keep them informed, keep them part of your family. Then they become part of your business and they feel part of their business, Yeah. And that's a massive thing I would advise anybody to do. Get that owners community. And once people start talking about, we're managed by this company, they're fantastic. All of a sudden you get other owners knocking on your door saying, would you manage my property? Then you start saying, let us have a look at it. And you might say, you know what? No, we don't manage that. All of a sudden you become, our company here in Cannes, we refuse maybe, 10 a week.
Yeah.
Because we just don't, it's about, everybody wants to work with us because we bring the incomes, but we manage our owners very well. So I think the future of short-term rentals, people have got to take a step back and see where they can change their business model to become more structured and build more profit and more structure and sustainability. That's the key. That's what they're the key factors you should be looking at right now.
100%. I couldn't agree more. That's how we operate our business. We have a partner that strictly works with the investors and the owners and make sure that, everything is up to standard, and they refer so many people to us all the time. So it's,
it's gold. It's like having when you've got 200 happy owners in a villa, in a small town, that's like having 200 staff. Mm-hmm. Because when they're out for dinner with their friends, they're talking, they're great. It's all about name awareness as well. So, they work for you when you bring them into your family, but you've got to treat them right.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Yeah. Well, so we're going to wrap this up a little bit, but
okay.
I really want to I want for the listeners to know, with this whole Destination Air concept that we've been working on, IPRAC is a huge partner involved in the Destination Air Award of 2020. For all the listeners, free trip to Cannes, France. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, 2-bedroom, bathroom, apartment, luxury, just overall beautiful property. I have links on the website for anybody listening, but
yes.
I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yeah. It's an awesome to have you guys involved with that. So I'm just excited to see, like you said, the rising tide of standards and destination airs that are born through this time, especially with your guys' initiative and the IPRAC movement. I think it's going to be really key.
It's great. It's great education what you're doing with the, with that initiative, because what's happening is you're teaching people through an award how to get better at what they do. Mm-hmm. And it is all about putting in the work, putting in the effort. If you're passionate about what you're providing your guests, then you can be more passionate, even get more. When there's an award to be won, I just think the education that you're doing with that is brilliant. And I think that's why we wanted to get on board to be the headline sponsor, to be able to give that experience, because whoever wins that prize, that's an experience that they're never going to forget. Because they're going to arrive in Cannes, they're going to arrive in Nice, they're going to get picked up by a limo, they're going to get brought to a luxury apartment for maybe 4 people. They're going to go to a fantastic restaurant in Le Souquet where it's well known for, you know, Brad Pitt and all the stars and myself. and then you're going to get to spend an evening with a guy who is just a fantastic person to sit down with and talk about what you talk about, hospitality and building. This is an Irish guy who's lived in New York, he's lived in Germany, Berlin. Now he's here in Cannes. He owns bars all over the place, and he's just so that prize itself is all about what you're creating. And I just think that what a great idea for what you've brought to the table. And I just think that's something that's going to grow. I think 2020 will be pretty small, you know, and I think you should expect that. But as that grows, that's going to be a really recognized award, and it's going to drive people, and it's going to drive people to do better. And that'll all be on you, Will. So that's a great. I love initiatives that can bring positivity to the industry. So congratulations and well done.
Thank you. No, thank you. I think it's been like a series of events that's happened leading up to that moment. But I think what I'm really excited for is to create that network of destinationaires that win every year and to get to do the nitty gritty. It's like a big mastermind, and it's going to be like a big, I don't know. I'm just excited to see the outcome. I have a lot of stuff in the works for it, but I just think IPRAC is key to what they're doing and what we're doing. So really excited.
Brilliant.
For everybody who's listening, where can they find out more? And do you have any final thoughts, conclusions for the episode?
Yes, you can find us at www.i-prac.com. That's the main platform. And there's a lot of information on there about who we are, what we do. And I just think, you know, for guests to be more, you know, enjoy going out there and booking properties, but do your due diligence, because I don't want anybody to be out there getting caught out in booking fraudulent properties, because it is happening. So do that. And if you're an operator, just look into how you can do better in terms of showcasing your trust and confidence, because it's not always about what you think as an operator, it's about what your guest thinks. And I always say that to people: put yourself in the position of the guest, not about you. You know, and as soon as you put yourself in the position of the guest, what would a guest want? And if it's verification and IPRAC approval, then great, take it. If it's not, that's fine. But I believe that we need more operators showcasing trust and confidence within the industry, so we can grow this industry to be where it should be.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. So awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Chris, for being on the show. Thank you for taking the time.
My pleasure.
I know this is a relaxed time for you, so I think it's awesome to always connect and get a little bit of face time.
Yeah, and anytime you want to pick a subject and get me on the show, I'll be more than happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for listening. All the links and everything that we talked about will be in the show notes, so make sure you follow on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. But then also check out the show notes with all the links. Go to IPRAC and just be aware that, you know, we're excited to be partners. So any IPRAC questions or inquiries, feel free to let me know. I will send it up to the team right away. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Chris, for being on, and we will talk soon.
Thank you, Will. Pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening. We love your support and want to provide the best we can to all our listeners. So please find us online, social media, and on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.
All right, everybody, this is it. The final moments of the Destinationaire Award for 2020. I just have to say a quick thank you to all the award sponsors who really made this possible. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to everybody who nominated. Over 40 nominations, and it made this whole thing so hard. I did not expect the feedback and the amount of just quality nominees there would be. And it just shows how beautiful and in-depth our industry is from all over the world. So again, thank you guys for taking the time to make this possible by nominating such incredible people and companies all over the globe doing amazing things. So I'm going to announce the winners in order of 5th through 1st place. Now, these 5 people or 5 companies have been selected for specific reasons for fitting the Destination Air concept and standards. So I'm just going to say their names, and then I will tag everything in the show notes with their link, as well as some other social media stuff where you can see pictures and information about their companies as well. So if I can get a drum roll, please. Jessica Hinton with Barefoot Vacation Rentals. 4th place, we have Robin Cragen with Moving Mountains. For 3rd place, we have Bob Gardner with Castel di Fici, and forgive me if I mess that up. And then for 2nd place, we have Ellie Paget with Home Slice Stays. And then for 1st place, the one that took the gold is Tim Andrews with OVO Network. For everyone who's listening, just thank you guys for tuning in. Congratulations to the 5 winners of the Destination Air Award. And for everybody who was nominated, make sure you check your email box. Whether you won or not, I have something in store for everybody. I want to make sure that you are all included in some shape and form, and I have a lot in store for all of you. So thank you. Congratulations to you 5. You did amazing work. We believe in you and what you're doing, and so congratulations for the recognition that you deserve and for officially becoming a Destination Air. What's up, everybody? If you've gotten this far into the episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast, then you are amazing, and thank you so much for tuning in. We want to send you 2 places really quickly. If you can, check out the show notes and click the hospitality.fm link. Check out all of our other shows on the podcast network. And don't forget, if you have someone that you want to hear on the podcast, then fill out the guest fill out form so that way we can get them on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy another episode of Slick Talk, the Hospitality Podcast.